Welcome into the Commanders Report. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today I got my 10 takeaways after watching the film from Commanders versus Saints in Week 15. Got some stuff on the offensive side of the ball, some stuff on the defensive side of the ball. It was definitely too close for comfort, so let's break it down for you guys right here on the Commanders Report. Make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already to celebrate the win. Although it was too close for comfort, like I said, guys, a win is a win, and it gets this team one step closer to the NFL postseason. So click that thumbs up icon if you're happy this team was able to pull out the W as close as it was. So let's get to my takeaways here. Let's start with the quarterback, because it always begins and ends with the quarterback here. Jayden Daniels showed out in this football game, guys. He had a number of jaw-dropping throws, but he's still growing. The stat line for Mr. Jayden Daniels in this game, 25 of 31, so that's a very high completion rate right there. When he was releasing the football, you could be rest assured that it was most likely going to be in the hands of a receiving target. He had 226 yards passing. He added a little bit over 60 yards rushing as well. He picked up a lot of big third downs with his legs as well, picked up 2 touchdowns to Terry McLaurin. He had some incredible throws, including that first touchdown pass to Terry McLaurin where he was falling down. He was going crazy. He throws it up, and Terry comes down with the football, an incredible play. And then also, I was really impressed by his second touchdown pass because he got to like his third or fourth progression going all the way across the field to find Terry open on a crosser, which was absolutely fantastic. So kudos to Jayden for that. But I do think Jayden, in this game in particular, compared to some of the other games in his rookie season, he held on to the ball for longer in this game than in some of his previous games. I think right now he's around top 10 in average time to throw. So generally he's done a pretty decent job of getting the ball out of his hands. But he took 8 sacks, all right? And we'll talk about the offensive line struggles in this game and how that played a part in the 8 sacks. But Jayden certainly had his moments of holding on to the ball for too long, trying to create with his legs when maybe he should have just thrown it away and try to accept it when a dead play is a dead play. So I do think that JD is still growing. He's still showing some growing pains, but man, this guy is looking like a future superstar quarterback and a top 5 QB in the game very, very shortly here. Man, he's probably going to be a Pro Bowler this year. But on the offensive line, all right, we talked about the 8 sacks. Tyler Biadasz, who was out with an illness in this game, was missed badly. Michael Dieter took over for him at center, and it was not very good, guys. A 51.7 PFF grade. He was constantly losing at the line of scrimmage, and when you're losing at center, I mean, it's kind of hard to win the line of scrimmage battle, period, especially when, maybe your guard play isn't as good as it should be, and Nick Allegretti was certainly an example of that. He gave up 2 sacks at left guard yesterday. It just wasn't a good day for Nick Allegretti at that left guard position. I think that he really benefits from having a guy like Tyler Biadasz at center. It helps him out a little bit because he knows he has that sturdy presence on the inside. He didn't have that yesterday with Michael Dieter. So that combination of left guard, center being ineffective really got that interior pressure going for the Saints. When we get to the outside here, I think Cornelius Lucas needs to play over Andrew Wylie. I understand you're paying Wylie a lot more money, but Lucas has played better. Okay, when Wylie was out with that concussion, Lucas came in and he actually played pretty well at right tackle. You got to go with your best lineup at this point. You're a team that is in the NFC Playoff Picture. You're a couple wins away here, a couple games away from being an NFC Playoff team. If you want any chance to win in the postseason, your offensive line needs to be the best unit you can possibly put out there. Wylie in his first game back gave up 4 pressures. That's not good enough. And Cornelius Lucas is the better option, in my opinion. And I would pay Andrew Wylie that big paycheck to sit on the bench because he's not getting it done. Another thing on the offensive tackle position here for the Washington Commanders is I would personally move Brandon Coleman in 2025 to a different position other than left tackle. And I would consider bringing in either a high-level starting left tackle in free agency next year if one becomes available, or I would take a blue chip left tackle prospect in the NFL draft in the first round. You're not going to be taking quarterback. So if you guys can get like a Will Compton or something like that, that's really, really good, or Kelvin Banks out of Texas, right? Somebody with that really, really high blue chip pedigree, put him at left tackle. Because when I watch Brandon Coleman on film, man, his hands are not really connected to his feet. He gets off balance. He doesn't look like an NFL left tackle to me. Now, maybe after another offseason, that can change. He certainly has the physical tools, but to me, he looks more like an NFL right tackle or an NFL left guard. And if this team can pick up a really good, franchise level starting left tackle in the draft next year or in free agency, I wouldn't mind moving Coleman to either left guard or right tackle for the 2025 season and beyond. Now, another thing on offense here is I thought that the Commanders and Cliff Kingsbury did a better job of getting Chris Rodriguez Jr. and Jerry McNichols going a little bit better a few weeks back before the bye when they played the Tennessee Titans. In this game, Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez Jr. had a combined 3 carries. Now, Brian Robinson Jr. was the workhorse. He had 21 yards, or 21 carries, I should say, in this game. But honestly, I liked it better when they were kind of mixing it up a little bit because, Brian Robinson Jr., I like him a lot, but, you want to kind of keep these guys fresh, especially as we approach the postseason here in 2024. Yesterday versus the Saints, this is another indictment on the Commanders' offensive line and their lack of ability to make movement at the line of scrimmage. B-Rob only had 3.1 yards per carry versus the Saints. Dan Quinn talked to the media earlier today, and he said, I think that we ran the ball enough in this football game, but you need to be more effective moving forward. I certainly think that's the case. With Austin Eckler still out with that really major concussion, I think the way that you do that is you spread it out a little bit. You give Chris Rodriguez Jr. some time. You give Jeremy McNichols some touches as well, and you keep B-Rob fresh. Another thing on offense in particular, and this goes to defense as well, but the time of possession battle was dominated by the Washington Commanders in this game. They had the ball for 40 minutes and 50 seconds in this game, and the Saints had it for just 19 minutes and 10 seconds. So over double the amount of time the Saints had the football in this game. So complete domination. Now, usually when you see this kind of domination of the time of possession, you look at, 21, 24, big time victories, right? Blowouts. All right. This came down to the final play. And if the Saints convert there on that 2-point conversion, we're talking about the Commanders losing, even though they had the ball for literally double the amount of time that the New Orleans Saints had the football in this game. That is a joke. You need to be able to finish out these games. You have to have your foot on the gas in that second half, and you can't let the Saints back into that football game. The way that you do that is you clean up some of the penalties. You obviously clean up some of the sacks that Jayden Daniels took in the second half as well, but the penalties and the sacks in the second half kept this team behind the 8 ball. It put them into 3rd and long situations, and it gave the football back to the Saints. That's not going to get it done if you are the Washington Commanders. You had 9 penalties. They weren't all on offense, right? Dante Fowler Jr. had 2 roughing the passer penalties yesterday. There were Benjamin St. Juste on his 2 plays of the day. He had one of those plays being illegal hands to the face. There was certainly stupid penalties on defense too, but offensive penalties, offensive sacks certainly led to some bad things on offense for the Commanders, and it gave the Saints an opportunity to win this game. Now, coming up here on the Commanders Report, defensive takeaways. I got a couple defensive takeaways after watching the film from yesterday's win. But before I get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time. And Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. What that means is when you bring people together at live events, the experience is so much better that way. And plus, if you still need to get the perfect gift for somebody kind of last minute for Christmas in your life, you guys can get a pair of tickets or some tickets to a live event from our friends at Game Time for a great price. And hey, those are some great tickets for a sports fan in your life. There's still some home games for the Washington Commanders at Northwest Stadium this year. Of course, you got the Eagles this week, and then you've got the Falcons the next week here in Week 17 as well. So if you want to get a last-minute ticket here for those games, Game Time has a brand new feature called Game Time Picks, which makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You just select one button, the Game Time Picks button, and it automatically filters their entire database to find you the best tickets for that event. And what I love about the Game Time app is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all in pricing so you don't get slapped with a crazy fee at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So listen, man, I don't think, Spencer Rattler's a franchise-level quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a long-term starter, but you got to give the kid his flowers yesterday, man. He went up against a defense there that was really getting after Jake Haener. Haener looked super uncomfortable the entire day. He came in off the bench cold, and he put together some really high-caliber throws. So listen, man, I do think that the Commanders' defense might have put their foot off the gas a little bit in the second half, but Rattler made some big boy throws in this game, and I do think that it's worth mentioning that Rattler actually played pretty darn well down the stretch, and he nearly led that team all the way back in the second half. So, where we're going to criticize the Commanders a little bit here, I do want to give Spencer Rattler a little bit of the credit as well. So let's go to Marshon Lattimore here, man, and he was absolutely locked down. He was everything that I thought he would be in a Washington Commanders uniform. Now, the New Orleans Saints don't really have anybody at wide receiver. They got guys like Cedric Wilson, and they got guys like Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Like, this isn't even close to A.J. Brown, for example, which is what Marshon is going to be going up against this week against Philadelphia. But Lattimore was not targeted once in this game versus the Saints, so his job is to be that number one press man corner on the outside to take away an opposing number one, and that's what he did this week. He did a phenomenal job of that, coming off that hamstring injury. He's, in my opinion, the missing piece to this Commanders defense, and although this Commanders defense might not be the best unit in football, adding that true number one presence on the outside is certainly going to help them out. Then, also at the cornerback position here, I thought it was interesting that they went with Noah Igbinoghene over Benjamin St-Juste. I thought that they might keep Juice on the outside because of his size, because of his physicality, and I thought they were going to put Mike Sainristil back in the slot because that is why the Commanders drafted Mike Sainristil initially, was to keep him in the slot and for him to be kind of like a Brian Branch type of impact player in the middle of the defense. But the Commanders stuck with Mike on the outside because he has been playing well, and I understand why they're making the move this way. You got two outside corners that you really trust, and then Igbinoghene's doing his best. He's not the best in the world, and it's certainly a weakness on the Commanders' defense right now. If you have a good slot wide receiver, it's certainly going to be a weakness for the Commanders moving forward. And I do think that Benjamin St-Juste will play more depending on the matchup each and every week. He might play a little bit more this week with A.J. Brown on the docket with the Philadelphia Eagles. I guess we'll see what Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr.'s game plan is, but maybe for the future here, they plan on keeping Mike Sainristil on the outside because he has been pretty impressive there, showing good instincts, good coverage ability, despite maybe a lack of size and true long speed. This guy's a baller, and him on the other side of Marshon Lattimore is something I could get used to moving forward. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Do you stick with Mike Sainristil on the outside heading into next season, or do you get another outside corner to pair with Lattimore? Type Y if you stick with Mike on the outside, or type N if you would not and move him back to the slot. Now, before I go here, some injury updates for your Washington Commanders. 2 concussions for Washington yesterday. Zach Ertz left with a concussion, had a great leaping catch with one hand in Saints territory yesterday, but he left with the concussion after that play. And then also Jeremy Chin with the concussion as well, left late, was confirmed a concussion today. So hopefully these guys can get back on the field. But honestly, guys, we know, you guys know how concussion protocol works here. It takes a little bit of time for those guys to potentially get back. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now because we'll keep you updated on their statuses as the week goes on. Tomorrow, I'll be getting you guys live coverage for the Commanders Report live show. We're going live on Tuesday this week, not on Wednesday. We're going to be starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and we got our preview for Week 16 versus the Eagles in a massive showdown in the NFC East. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you click that subscribe button and join us for Commanders Report live tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern.